Hello everyone and welcome back to Crypto Atlas. In today's episode, it is pretty jam-packed, but I'm going to be trying to throw this at you at lightning speed, so be sure to pay close attention, guys. I think we got a lot of valuable information. We're talking about Bitcoin, XRP, and Orchid today. So if you guys are new to the channel, we have some goals. We're trying to get to 600 subs right now. Every sub is greatly appreciated, and I think you guys will enjoy future content. If you do enjoy this video, then feel free to hit subscribe. Don't forget to turn on the bell notification, everybody, and let's see if we can get this video to 50 likes. Drop a comment down below later on. Let me know what you thought about all this. And with that being said, let's get right into it. So first thing we're going to talk about is Bitcoin. 500,000 in Satoshi era Bitcoin just moved to Bitfinex. Is this good or bad or a cultural oddity? What's interesting is it's not 500,000 Bitcoin, it's $500,000 worth. The title is a bit clickbait, but just to kind of clarify a little bit further, the last time someone moved Satoshi era coins and it made waves was back in May when someone moved 50 coins that were mined in February 2009. Much of that money went to Binance and Coinbase. So you take a look over here on this article, which was published on May 20th. Did Satoshi Nakamoto just move his coins? This is what they were referencing to. And you can actually take a look here on CoinMarketCap. If we go back to May 20th, you can see that as far as what direction did the actual price of Bitcoin start to move. On May 20th, well, May 19th, price was right around $9,728. And we saw May 20th, it was dropping down, $9,463. The following day, continuation down, $9,072. So you can see it had a bit of a drop over the next several days when that was announced back then, and then it started to rally itself back up, had this large accumulation phase, and then started to increase itself as well. So with the May instance, the price had actually went down. Now, what some other people are currently saying, such as from Joseph Young over on Twitter, that's just 1 month after the first Bitcoin block was mined. There's not a lot of people who can do this, perhaps close associates of Satoshi. My question is why, not who, is sending 50 Bitcoin for the first time in more than 10 years. Somebody else said this is not Satoshi. I repeat, not Satoshi. And they're showing reference charts. This has been historically referenced a lot of times to say like, hey, this is a large indicator of who Satoshi was during these points in time. Some link the transfers to price movements. This is good for Bitcoin, apparently, because it means that the crypto OG thinks that a bull run is on the move. As I mentioned, in May it dropped down. It was a 7% drop. Since the coins moved last night, Bitcoin has only dropped about 2%, from 10,642 to 10,410. Now, something also to take in mind with what's going on is the fact that we have the difficulty adjustment. And I had previously said that things were not looking that great. The next expected hash rate change, which the hash rate, if you guys don't know what that is, that's what identifies how often the blocks are produced for the miners to be able to mine Bitcoin. If there's too many miners, the processors have been advanced in technology too much, the difficulty is going to go higher. The good news is that the higher the difficulty on the hash rate, the more secure the network is for Bitcoin itself. Surprisingly, just kind of at the last little minute here, decided it wanted to change itself. So back in September 19th, the previous hash rate change, it was at 19 trillion 314 billion. Now it's 19 trillion 298 billion. So the change has actually dropped down by 0.09%. And what that basically means is that the network is just slightly less secure, right? It's nothing to really worry about. We still have an extremely secure network. This previous push up, 11.35%, was just absolutely insane. And also it means that the miners are going to have the opportunity to potentially mine the blocks a little bit more if they decide to come back into the game. The average block rate right now is about 10 minutes. So this previous change had put quite a bit of a hurt on the network itself. Some people might be coming back into the rally if they're just saying, hey, I'm good, I'm done. Then the people that are still in the market space as miners, they have an opportunity to actually start making some more gains, and that could mean some more flow and circulation going into the movement space, or it actually could mean that they're going to hodl more, because a lot of times we see them capitulate. And what that means is that, well, they got to take some gains. And instead of holding out long-term, waiting for Bitcoin to go to that $20,000, $100,000 price point, you know, the price is slowly dropping down more and more, and you need to make some profit. It's too hard from the mining perspective for looking long term. It's not really worth your time and energy, literally. And so because of that, you decide to start selling more of your Bitcoin. So personally, way I look at this, I think they're more likely to be holding on to it, especially with the upcoming election. There's a lot of uncertainty with things that's going on in the economy right now. You got the whole lockdowns, everything else like that. I think a lot of the miners are going to start cracking down and just keeping it to themselves again, which means less circulating supply, which actually means that if the demand starts to increase at some point, the price is going to start fluctuating up even higher, and those miners are going to be really interested in that. The holders are going to be more interested in it, and we'll have to see how that kind of plays out. So very interesting information with that. A side note right here is that there was a man, this is some kind of bad, kind of good news. I think it's good news whenever you actually disclose that somebody has been caught for doing illegal activity with cryptocurrency, because that strengthens the idea of how you can trace on the blockchain. I know a lot of people don't like the idea. They kind of want that anonymous. Why do I always forget how to say this? Being anonymous on their transactions, what they spend their money on, things like that. But when you have money laundering, you have money washing, you have illegal actions that's going on between militia forces, terrorist groups, all that kind of stuff, you got to admit, it is kind of a nice thing that you can identify and help stop some major criminal activity situations. And especially the government is interested in those kinds of things. You got to try and protect your people, obviously, right? And try and keep law and order, all that good stuff. Anyways, so the flip side to this is that it shows how somewhat easily you can actually go out and scam people with this, but maybe these are good lessons to learn. And one of the reasons why I want to talk about this is you got to be careful. You know, if you give somebody else the money to be able to go buy Bitcoin, then guess what? It's very similar to the bank. That money leaves your hands. It's in their possession right now. You're losing control of it. They can now technically go off and do whatever they want with it. You could take them to court, pursue them, all this other stuff, but the money is not in your hand anymore. So the idea behind cryptocurrency, if you buy it through an exchange, just be careful, guys. Lots of stuff happens. KuCoin just happened recently with their exchange and everything. I can't tell you to go buy a ledger. I'm not a financial advisor, everything else I'm saying here, you know, but I invested in one. I think it's a good idea that at the very least that you be secure and put some funding on some sort of an external device and keep that secured in a nice protected place so that you remove another potential attack on something that's on the network itself. Okay. So now let's go ahead and talk about what is going on with XRP, and then we're also going to take a look at the Bitcoin chart. We are at about 8 minutes in here so far, so I'm going to try and move just slightly faster with this. Just a quick note, 2 fraud allegations against Ripple are dropped, so that's actually some good news, right, for the people that are XRP holders, right? Because what that means is that there's more support and belief behind XRP and being something that's trusted, right? When you go in to make an investment, you want to trust that the investment that you're doing is something that has a long-term potential. Even if you're looking at a short-term potential, you still believe that it has room to grow. I mean, I guess unless you're shorting. Dangerous game, by the way. And now going back over to XRP, and I'll explain this right here. You guys can see that we have a falling wedge pattern that is taking place as displayed there, and you can see a similar circumstance. This green candle that's taking place is currently on the daily. So it is breaking that previous trend, keeping the descending wedge. We do have what looks to be like a potential breakout, and you can see on this chart here that they use the distance factor between right here and right there, correct? Pull it back. The descension down from the high moment. So we can actually pull this back over to right about there. And couple key things I'm going to be telling you guys with this. Let me go ahead and pull that down like that. If this has a further continuation break up from where it is currently at, we could potentially be seeing price gains pushing above the 0.786 level and going back into the region zone right around here, which would put it at a price point between 30 cents and just under 33 cents. And at the specific point, it would be at 31 cents. So that would actually put it right at 2 previous points of highs, as you can see in this last little cycle run. So that is actually some good news. Further news in regards to that. You can see where it needs to kind of break also above here. It suggests that the point of entry, Fibonacci level 3.618, that actually coincides pretty darn well with this red dotted line. As you guys can see, the 0.382 level right above here. And just slightly below that, we had some bounces off 2 different times on the wick on these daily charts. So if it can break above, in my point of view from this, if it can break above the 0.2581 cent level, just a little bit more than almost 26 cents, then that's actually going to give it another chance to break into above the Fibonacci retracement level. Could have that further continuation up. It needs to establish itself. Right now, this 21 EMA, it is above it, but it doesn't have the daily close. So I'm still a little bit skeptical with this. Some other good indications here. You can see that the volume trade has actually been decreasing over time. So we should be expecting a bit of a reversal there. The RSI is actually starting to show a bit of an increase as well after having this consolidated space. So this could be a good rally opportunity time for XRP. But the actual suggestion based on like a chart like this is saying that the entry point to say like, okay, it looks a little bit more stable is going to be right around that 25, almost 26 cent base level, especially if it closes on the daily. If it just closes, if it pushes all the way up further today, this could be a potential trap. So I would be very cautious, you guys. It does look like it has some opportunity to make some rallies right now, and this is more than likely related to the good news about those cases being dropped and more people going to be supportive of that. So there's a potential run in the near future for XRP on that. If we zoom in on the hourly, did I do a chart on this one? On the hourly, we got the descending wedge, which has the breakout currently, and it's just having a little bit of a climb up right here. So it's mostly the daily that we're looking at for that. I do have a little bit more information that I'm going to go ahead and give you guys in cover right now, and we're going to try and wrap up this video pretty quickly. So also looking at Bitcoin, when we take a look at the hourly chart, we do have what is an ascending wedge pattern. This is a bearish indicator, so be cautious. This could be a fake out with what's going on. And, you know, I think tomorrow is going to be a very important point. You're going to have the markets opening up for the stock market again. The president talking about how he's making a recovery. There's talks about him potentially being released and him essentially going back on. And this could have a lot of positive sentiment into the stock market and having a start of a further rally there. If the correlation continues, as many people seem to think, between Bitcoin and the S&P 500, this could cause another rally, not only for the stock market, but also for Bitcoin. But on the flip side, when the ideas of like the dollar, for example, or the stocks are on the rise, some people might try to take advantage of that and say, hey, let me move my funds out of the more harder assets such as gold and silver and also cryptocurrencies, and let me go ahead and put that into stocks because it sounds like it's going to be more easy money, right? If it's already likely to go ahead and go on a rally, we saw stocks started to drop when he announced that he was sick. So you might be able to assume the idea that if he's saying, well, I'm going to be good and back to go, it's like, okay, well then that means the reverse is going to happen. So it's going to be a really important time to keep a close eye on the Monday markets, I believe, for stock market. This has a potential of a reversal. As of this specific moment on the hourly, the good news is that we're pushing closer towards the top of that ascending wedge pattern. And if it is able to break above that, that's going to be very good news. It could have a further continuation up. And then we could see the whole market starting to rally up further behind that too. Taking a look at the daily on this, you can see that we had actually touched the 21 EMA and bounced off of it with that wick there. I mean, it was like right lined up. It touched it, bounced right off, came down. We'll see if it has a further rally up. We still have about an hour left until the daily close and see where this establishes itself. If it can establish itself still within this region zone, then we're going to potentially be seeing it form right above the level of support that's been going on as well. So that would actually be some great news. That'd be some very, very good news and bullish news for that. And lastly, let's go and talk about Orchid. briefly with what's going on here. So here we have a descending triangle pattern, and this is also a bearish pattern in design. So this could be a potential moment where it has a further continuation. This is just based on the hourly. As you guys can see, we keep touching that level of dissension for the top support. Resistance. Geez, get my words together. Come on, Atlas. And the descending form of resistance, it needs to break above that. And so far, it just wants to keep tapping it and bouncing off, tapping it and bouncing off. But the good news is it keeps tapping the bottom level of around 26 cents and bouncing off that too. But we're getting close to another point where it's going to have to make a decision and do something. That's based on the hourly chart. So as of right now, it's closer to the level of resistance. We are in the hourly on a downward candle. Next couple hours, we could be potentially seeing it pushing all the way right around here, just into the around 4 o'clock Pacific Standard Time as of tomorrow. So do keep a close eye on that as well, guys. Looking at it on the daily. On the daily, we are starting to fill even more, come on this descending wedge-based pattern. So if it continues to fill down more, it just kind of delays the actual changes in potential uptrend that I know a lot of people are hoping for. I mean, I'm hoping for it. I've got investments in this myself too. We're on 2, 4, 6 days of red candles, and it is looking, with as thick as this candle is, that it's more than likely going to close as that. Historically, something that is really important to try and take note of is how many days have we had 6 red candles in a row? Well, we had 5 here. We had 4 here, 4 here. This is relationship to Coinbase. We have 4 right here. We have another 4 right here. We have another 4 here in the back, and then 5 right here. 2, 4, 5. And then shortly after its actual first release on Coinbase is where we saw the furthest continuation of red candles. This was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 red candles in a row. Hopefully we don't see that, but it is potentially something that's going to happen there. I mean, the likelihood of it breaking more than 8 red candles in 8 days in a row, in my opinion, is not very likely. I'm still surprised that we're seeing these slight little dips, but I went ahead and I bought some more. I bought those dips. I had set up order right here back on the 26 cent, and I got once, and then when I saw it started to make a little bit further of a push down, I showed help defending that level of support. I decided to go ahead and buy a little bit more, filled my bags a little bit more, and I'm starting to see gains as it's already gone up. Even though it's down on the daily, I'm still technically up on those purchases that I did, which is great. Great news. Good buying opportunity from what I can tell right there. But the fact that it's in the descending triangle pattern, that's not good. That's a bearish sign, as I mentioned earlier. We have over the next couple days, if it stays in this region zone, 1, 2, looks like 2 to 3 days, it's going to have to make a decision. If it continues a downward trend, it can extend out that time a little bit more. As we see, it's just kind of falling right along with that line down. But in the next potentially 1 to 2 days, we're going to see a rally up. And if the stock market opens up tomorrow and it's booming and it's doing well, if Bitcoin is booming and doing well, we've already been seeing 2, 4, 6 days of red candles. So we're increasing the odds of probability that a green candle is right around the corner, and enough of a green candle above that level of resistance, guess what? It should have another further push up, and I would highly expect to see what we've seen before. Big candle green up, and then a retracement down, and it closing out with a bit of a high wick. So just keep that in mind, guys, and that's it for this video. Ended up being a bit longer again. I guess I'm still in the same region zone, but I had a lot of news and information that I wanted to share with you guys. If you enjoyed this content, do not forget, guys, to hit subscribe. It would be great to have you be a part of this community. Don't forget to hit the like button. Drop your comments down below. Let me know if you have any requests for future cryptocurrencies. As I mentioned before, if enough of you guys do make comments on the same cryptocurrency, then I will definitely take a look into it and cover it in a future video. Thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you so much for being a part of this community. Thank you for helping us get to where we're at already. And I'm so excited to see the future growth of this community and this channel. And I'll see you guys in the next episode.